So good day, everyone. To continue from the previous group's report, we are now looking at the operational side of computer-based accounting system, explaining the how the data moves through the system, how it is updated, and how we as auditors ensure everything stays accurate. So let's start with the differences between batch and real-time systems. Next slide, please. So when it comes to processing data, we have two main choices. The first one is the batch processing and the real-time processing system. So yung batch processing, muna siya ang gina-collect niya ang similar transactions like all the data's today's sales and process them all at once at the end of the day. And on the other hand, real-time processing updates the records immediately. So the table shows us that there is no perfect system. So next slide. So if you look at the comparison table now on the slide, it highlights main differences we need to consider as auditors, which are first, notice the time frame. Yung time frame is in a batch system, there is a lag or delay because we wait to process data in groups. While in the real-time process naman is immediate ang iyahang update. So kung unsa ang paghitabo karon is ma-update siya diretso. While sa resources niya is yung batch is low resource. It's because we can run it at night when the system is idle, and then yung real-time processing naman is very 24/7 bitaw siya kay it requires dedicated hardware and 24/7 nga power. So kailangan siya nga on and ready siya every second. Now we go to the efficiency and effectiveness. So when we look at the efficiency and effectiveness, batch is highly efficient. Yet, yung real time naman is very effective because it gives us the fresh information we need right now. So as auditors, we check which one the company uses to see how fresh their financial reports really are. So now let's delve into the destructive update approach, which is the next slide. So in this method, when you update a file, the computer replaces the old data with the new data. The old data is destroyed, no? As it is destroyed to save spaces. As auditors, we must we must make sure that there is a transaction lag, as what I've put it in the PPT. We need transaction lag because this lag is our audit trail. It's the only way we can see what is to see what the numbers were before they were changed. So the next naman is next slide, please. So we have here the TPS, the controlling the TPS, no. The TPS is where all the transactions happens. To keep it safe, we need 3 locks. We have here the transaction, the authorization, segregation, and then access controls, which are not new terms. No, dili na siya new terms at all. So I will no longer explain these terms. However, these control is very important sa computer processing things because when we talk about the computer-based accounting system is ang process niya is very paspas jud, and we really need a strong rules and regulations with that. These controls are what keep the company's financial information reliable and protected.
So now I will discuss to you the data coding schemes and how they are used in transaction processing systems. So first, what is data coding? So data coding means using numbers or letters to represent information. Instead of writing kanang long na mga descriptions, we use short codes to make processing faster and reduce errors. So why is it important? Important siya because kanang makasave siya og time, avoid mistakes, and helps track transactions. It also makes auditing easier because records are kanang mas organized siya. Um, Without coding, businesses must write full descriptions. This takes time and can lead to errors, especially when handling many transactions. So, katong mga long descriptions are replaced with simple numbers. For example, instead of writing full details, we just use codes na like kanang number na kani siya nga item kay mao niyang code para mas dali siya pangitaon. So, this figure shows how real-time processing works in a sales system. So, when a customer places an order, the system immediately checks credit and inventory. Tapos updates records, sends the order to the warehouse, ships the goods, and generates the invoice. All steps happen instantly, making the process fast and efficient. So now we will be discussing the types of coding schemes. So these are the types of coding schemes, and I will briefly explain each one. Wala na ako giput ang katong ay wala mo gud kay siya example bitaw naka-text mo gud ang example, so ako na lang siya discuss to you guys isa-isa. So first, ang sequential codes. Sequential codes follow a simple order. They are easy to track but do not give information about the item. Sequential codes, for example, numbers in order like 001, mao ni siya, 002, mao ni siya nga item, 003, mao ni siya. So naka-sequence bali siya. And then next is the block codes. Block codes are assign ranges to categories. This helps organize data like accounts in accounting. Kabantay mo lang sa chart of accounts, di ba ka ng assets kay nagbigin siya sa 1 kay 200, 201 na siya. Murag na siya range to categories. And then next one is group codes. Group codes combine several pieces of information into one code. This allows detailed tracking but can become complicated. Detail iyang information. Mag-combine siya og different data parts. However, complicated siya na kanang types of coding schemes. And then next is alphabetic codes. Alphabetic, so mag-use letters from A to Z. More combinations, siya letters no instead of numbers. So they allow more combinations but can be harder to organize tungod kay sa kadaghan niya bitaw murag mas maglibog noon ka kay diba kung mas compress ang code or like mas compress ang range sa code kay mas dali siya pangitaon unya kay dako man siya nga kanang murag daghan may makombine niya sa code na letters, so mas harder siya i-organize. And next is mnemonic codes. So mnemonic codes are easy to remember because they represent real words or abbreviations. For example, accounting, so ang imong code ana kay ACCTG para mas dali siya ma-remember. So data coding schemes are important as what I have said earlier because they make systems faster, more accurate, and easier to manage. Thank you.
Now, we are down to the general ledger system, which is not basically not new to us since naagian nato ni siya during atong first year nato wherein pero kato lang siya is traditional accounting lang to siya but the use gyud ng general ledger but this time is through system now which is automatic na ang tanan. So next slide please. So general ledger system serves as the central hub of accounting system where all financial information from different parts of a business is collected, summarized, and used to create reports. So as you can see in figure 6.34 from our book, all transactions from each subsystems, which is inventory control, payroll, or cash disbursements, are entered into the GLS or the General Ledger System through the use of journal vouchers and produces reports that is useful for external and internal users for decision making. For example, kanang financial statements. Next is this is an example of what a journal voucher looks like. As what I mentioned before, mo siya ang gina-use para mag-enter og mga information sa general ledger system. So it is the source of input to the general ledger. It is a document used to record transactions in the general ledger. Next, next is Anara. So here is the GLS database. GLS database, it stores and organizes all financial transactions that eventually appear in the financial statements of a company. So, naay variety of files nga nag-compose sa GLS database. These are 6 kabuok na naka-flash sa screen. So, first is General Ledger Master File. Mo na pinaka most important sa GLS database because naadira tanan ang transactions nga gikan sa journal voucher as katong nakita ninyo ganina sa first slide. Second is the general ledger history where it stores past financial data to be used for trend analysis and comparative financial statements. So comparative financial statements is not new to us katong like prior year and current year na mga kanang data. And third, it is the journal voucher file, which contains all the journal vouchers for the current period. We also have journal voucher history, which records all the journal vouchers from past periods. And we also have responsibility center file where it focuses on internal performance tracking. This contains like expenses and revenues na gina-use sa isa ka responsibility center. And this is used by management reporting system for the preparation of responsibility report. And lastly is the budget master file, which contains the budgeted amount for revenues and expenditures and other resources na gamiton sa responsibility center. Next. So the financial reporting system. Again, this is like just a review sa ato as since kabalo na taon sa process aning financial reporting system. So ang kalayan ng ani is through na siya sa system which is automated na siya. So it is the system responsible for preparing and providing financial information to external users. Next slide, please. So here is makita ninyo sa figure ang kanang financial reporting process wherein from transaction processing, i-record ang transactions, then posting to general ledger, then from general ledger is mag-create dayon og financial statement reports to be used by either external users or internal users. So ay kanang figures lang, ay kanang graph lang ni siya or like process para makita ang kanang financial reporting process. So this is like ma-equate siya sa ato ang traditional or manual bitaw nga accounting process nga katong mano-mano gyud. And ang next figure ani is figure 6.38, ang last slide man ata for this topic is mao ni siya ang sa kanang using na sa database technology wherein i-enter lang nimo ang transactions sa from journal vouchers to kanang padulong sa GLS katong system nato, and then mag-automate na din siya og update sa mga amounts or mga data nga nade dito, then automated na pod ang pag-update sa mga financial statements. And that's all for my report.
So, good day, everyone. I'll now be discussing how financial reporting is being transformed through XBRL, or Extensible Business Reporting Language. So, traditionally, companies publish financial reports online using an HTML format. So, while these reports are easy to view, they are not really machine readable. So, meaning users like analysts or regulators must manually input the data into their system. So this creates inefficiency and increases the risk of errors. Not to mention, it is very time consuming on their end. So to solve this limitation, XBRL was developed. So XBRL is an XML-based language designed specifically for business and financial reporting. So unlike HTML, XBRL allows financial data to be standardized, automatically processed, also easily exchanged between systems. So this makes financial reporting faster, more accurate, and more useful for decision making. So let us now understand XML and its role. So to better understand the XBRL, we need to briefly look at the XML. So XML is a meta language that allows to create customized tags to describe data. So unlike HTML, where tags only define how data looks, XML tags define what the data actually means. So this means the data becomes machine readable, and also systems can automatically interpret and process information. So XBRL uses this capability to structure financial data in a way that both humans and computers can understand. So let us now go to the XBRL process. So there are um, four key steps. First is the selection of taxonomy. So a taxonomy is a classification system that defines what data should be included and how it should be labeled. So this ensures that financial data is standardized and comparable across organizations. Next step is to um, next is that companies map their internal general ledger accounts to appropriate XBRL tags. So for example, an internal account like cash in bank is mapped to a standardized XBRL tag such as cash and cash equivalent. So this step ensures consistency and usability of financial data by external users. So next step is embedding tags into the database. So once the mapping is complete, the XBRL tags are embedded into the company's financial database. So this process only needs to be done once, but the tags are used repeated for the reporting. Next is generating XBRL instance documents. So from the tag database, the system generates an XBRL instance document, which is the actual financial report. So this document is machine readable for automated analysis, and also it can be made human readable using style sheets. So lastly is the publishing and distribution. So the XBRL report can be published internally through intranet, or to partners called extranet, or publicly through the internet. So users can then download and directly analyze the data using their systems. So what is the importance and current use of the XBRL? So since now XBRL is becoming the global standard for financial reporting, it is already required by regulators just like SEC, and also it is used by thousands of banks and companies worldwide. Um, companies adopt countries also adopted. It is also adopted internationally in countries like Japan, Canada, and the UK. So it also supports compliance with the laws like the SOX or the Sarbanes-Oxley Act by enabling more timely and transparent reporting. So now let's move on to the controls over the financial reporting system. So under SOX, management is required to design and implement controls to ensure the reliability of financial reporting. So there are four key risks in the financial reporting system, which are um, a defective audit trail, an unauthorized access to the general ledger, an imbalance between the general and subsidiary ledger accounts, and incorrect balances due to unauthorized or erroneous journal entries. So if these are not controlled, there will be consequences, just like misstatements in the financial statements, financial losses, and legal consequences. So that is why we have causal-based control activities to address this risk. So, so what are these controls that are implemented based on the causal framework? So first is the transaction authorization. So with this, all journal entries must be supported by journal vouchers, and these must be approved by authorized personnel. Next, there must be segregation of duties. So responsibilities must be separated to prevent fraud. So those who update the general ledger should not maintain the subsidiary records or prepare the journal vouchers. So this ensures the independent verification within the system. So next is the access control. So only authorized users should access the general ledger. So these controls include permission, user permission, authorized tables, and data encryption. Also, using of passwords. So this prevents unauthorized changes to financial data. Next is the accounting records and audit trail. So the system must maintain a strong audit trail which tracks transactions from beginning to the end, which supports error detection and correction and provides historical data for audits. Next is the independent verification, which the FRS generates key reports such as the journal voucher listing and the general ledger change report. So with this, these reports help verify the accuracy of entries and the effects of transactions on accounts. So there with XBRL there are advantages. However, there are also internal control issues. Um, it improves reporting, but it also introduces new risks. Just like taxonomy creation errors, where incorrect taxonomy design can lead to misclassification of data. There are also mapping errors where wrong mapping between accounts and tags may result in misstated financial reports. Lastly, there are validation of instance documents. Documents where generated reports must be verified before publication to ensure it is in a correct tag and there are accurate data representation. So overall, to sum up my report, XBRL is very revolutionizing, um, where financial reporting, but to financial reporting by making it faster, more accurate, more accessible, and generally more efficient. However, strong controls over the financial reporting systems are very essential to ensure that data integrity is still there, the compliance with regulations is still met, and the reliability of financial information is still there. So overall, the combination of advanced technology like XBRL and robust internal controls creates a more efficient and trustworthy financial reporting system. So that's all for our report, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.